Hey everyone, I'm super excited today to have with us a very special guest. Today we have the absolute honor and opportunity to talk with one of my favorite people and entrepreneurs. Zviki is the founder of a phenomenal company called Lightico. But today we're not only here to hear about the story of Lightico and how it got founded, its early days, which is a phenomenal story, and especially how they navigated the whole entire COVID situation. We're here to speak with Zviki of how Zviki essentially became Zviki and who he is. Zviki is a man full of humility, and I don't want to embarrass you right at the beginning of this show because I still want you to give us a talk. But Zviki is an incredible man, built an incredible company. But even more than that, he's an amazing husband, an incredible father to three beautiful children. And he is someone that really puts in the work on himself on a daily basis, from what I've seen so far, on how he can improve 1% better every single day, and how he can show up as a better man to his wife, his kids, his friends, and his company. So we are here to learn everything that Zviki does, so we can apply that to our own life too. So Zviki, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you for having me. Even though it's the fifth time that we're trying to do it, we constantly speak for 15 enjoying minutes and then reschedule. For it's finally time to actually take it live. So thank you for having me.
So after so much anticipation and so much buildup, the expectation is so high that we're really gonna have to knock it out of the park with this one because people have been wanting to listen to this. Forget about the people, myself included. I mean, everyone. To hear your wisdom and lessons. And don't worry, we're still going to have those 15-minute conversations every single week, always. So it's not stopping. So, but see, let's just jump right into it. We're going to jump into a few things. And we're going to divide this podcast up into three parts because, you have so much wisdom to share. You have, obviously, the startup life, Lightico we want to get into, and then who you are as a person. But I want to start with, getting quickly into one thing. Take me back to February 25th, 2020, right? February 20th, 2020, you open a new office, right? You have three term sheets ready to get signed, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, where your offices are shut down, right? You don't have the ability to move into your new office. All your term sheets got pulled, and you have 5 months of runway left, and you have, I think, a little over 100, around 100 employees. What's going through your mind, your emotions, your body, everything? Because that incapacitates everything, your family life, your personal life. Talk to me about it.
First of all, I think something in my personality, I never get into stress. So I'm not. It's a, I think that it's because I know that there will be a solution eventually for everything that might fall on us. We just need to be smart, to look at things and to plan and to execute the best possible way that we can do in order to do it. Think about it. Term sheets at the hand in front of a new round, a very good round that was supposed to happen back then at March 2020, and suddenly the stock market in the U.S. dropped like crazy. COVID has been raining terror across the world. Airports are shut down, conferences are being halted, no lead generation, nothing. And it's a situation where, first of all of your family are as protected as possible by being quarantined, everybody at home, trying to get used to a new kind of reality. Um, and it was, first of all, it was challenging, I can say. Second of all, you need to first of all stop and look at what the world has given you. We came to a situation where we have 5 months of runway because we usually raise money 4 to 6 months before end of cash because the company is doing very well. We are growing pretty fast. We have an amazing group of employees at Lightico that are doing amazing things. So it wasn't ever hard to raise money, but we came into a situation that there is no capital out there because, and I get it, all the VCs out there have looked inside. If they were looking outside, looking at new companies to invest in, suddenly they looked at existing portfolio companies and looking who are going to be in trouble in the next year and a half. That's what was the calculation. So you're facing a very difficult situation where you must save cash in order to make sure you extend runway, in order to make sure that you will live to see the next fundraising, and you don't know when it's going to happen. Only after COVID, the clouds will perish, and you will see what the reality is. So I think that looking at Lightico, the first thing is being very open with everybody. So I sat alone for a full day and just wrote everything in the most genuine way possible, telling the entire company about the situation. Why are we fundraising? That's not everybody knows what fundraising is. Oh, we don't have fundraising, so we won't have cash to last. No, we are taking funds in order to grow the business, and we constantly get more funds in order to keep on growing. And the situation that has came is that we are overspending because that's the model we are doing business with. But we came to a situation that there won't be any capital in the next 6 to 7 months, so we must take tough decisions. A few unpaid leaves, a salary reduction across the board, like everybody. And what we said is, let's work together, bring a strong quarter or two in order to show very good signs, and eventually be able to raise the round, bring our friends back to work, and get our salaries back to normal. Of course, compensating all the employees in any way possible in order to keep them. And it was a huge success. First of all, the amount of messages, IMs, WhatsApps, email that I got from employees saying that we're behind you and the other co-founders and the executive leadership. We know that you're doing only the best for all of us. That was very challenging. That was very encouraging, and actually very humble to hear that. There was no single person that got fired. And you can understand that a situation where there are some companies that have lots of cash because they raised pre-COVID, they can take your best talent where you're in a place of struggle. So only a company that has employees that are very connected to the company and to each other can last that kind of period, and we've done so. So I'm very happy on the result, but the way was, again, scary.
Okay. I can only imagine, when you have everything almost hanging on a thread, not sure where it's going what's going to happen, what the outcome is going to be, because at that point of time, no one knew what's going to happen afterwards. I mean, now it's all crazy with the amount of money and everything that's going on in the market. But back then, it was only insanity, and going through your head, you have no idea what's going to be. So all you could have done was play offense over there.
Yeah, it's first of all play offense and play defense, because everything is about persistence. I think I spoke with more than 20 firms a month for 4 months from my porch at home, because I was quarantined with my wife and 3 children. And eventually, after so many VC conversations, we've been able to raise a very good round from a very good firm at around July 2020. It was 4 months of, you can say, lots of challenge, but eventually we managed to raise the round, bring everything to normal. And it's all about persistence eventually, because I didn't stop. VC call after VC call, data room after data room, collateral after collateral, until we managed to raise that round. And it's in those times that you see that as a company, as a person, as a company, as a group, we managed to go through this kind of period. We can go through everything. I don't think that there is a goal out there that we can achieve.
Wow. Every conversation, there's always an underlying conversation under the conversation where the real conversation is happening, right? And so for me, when I hear this from you, Zviki, what I hear from you, which is touching me, is first of all, your empathy that you have towards employees, towards your team members, having empathy, really, saying first of all, not trying your best not to let anyone go, and to be there for them. The second thing is obviously the transparency of communicating for them what's really happening behind the scenes, and not like trying to, I guess, cover it up or try to make it more glossy than it actually is, sugarcoat it. And the third thing is you mentioned last part was the discipline and determination that you have. Who's Zviki that has all this empathy, this discipline, this transparency? Obviously this is not, Zviki doesn't show up today based upon because he woke up this morning. No, you show up today based upon all the macro and micro decisions you made throughout your life and all the experiences you went through in order to become the man you are today. What are the certain experiences you went through in life that made you become this man, made you become this better person? What was it come from? What was your upbringing like, and your adolescence, your teenagers, your early years of life for you to become this incredible person?
I think it's a tough one. It you really need to think about this answer. I never stop to ponder on these questions because it's not who I am. I'm not looking at myself from the outside. I'm never looking at what I did and like saying being proud of myself. It's not part of who I am. Um, I think that first of all, where I grew up in a very, I can say, simple, very very simple family. Out of a suburb of Tel Aviv called Bat Yam, the daughter of the sea in Israel. Um, Not a very good place to grow in the 80s. Very tough, lots of violence, lots of you can say drugs and a very tough environment. My parents always kept me warm, but you I think you learn how to get along. You learn how to face very difficult situations as a child. So when you're growing up, things that seems very complicated or very tough for some people, it's nonsense. You went through things that are tough. You saw what tough is. You saw how people look when it's tough. So it gives you, um, I can say, immunity from those kind of challenges when you grow up. That's maybe one. In regards to humility, I think it comes from my mother. That's the way she taught me. That's the way I grew up. Always think about the other person. Always make sure that everybody okay. Always give chances to every person. I When I grew up at a school. I was a very tough boy. I was drop off preschool, almost drop off high school. I was this close to being expelled multiple times. I think it was because I was bored. I think it was because I didn't have somebody to push me from back and making sure that I reach those goals because a child is just a child. It goes to the path of least resistance to where is most interesting. And the beach, when you live in Bat Yam, the beach is much more interesting than school. And I I almost didn't get a chance. And I knew that I had it in me. It's like when I thought about myself, it's like I'm a smart guy. There was no chance that I need to do any. There was a moment in time, I think it was around the 12th grade, that I said, okay, it's enough with the shenanigans. Let's show the world, like let's show everybody who I am. And I excelled my SAT. I excelled eventually my high school diploma. I was valedictorian at the B Science. I excelled my MBA. And if you look at me as a child, if no one would have given me the chance, then I don't know what would have been doing these days. So eventually, I think all of those things that happened to me until the moment that I became what I am today is because of the experiences, like you're saying, Frank.
Wow. I don't have like it really. I felt it inside. It really touched me, like emotionally. Like I feel like myself almost like tearing up a little bit. Where you mentioned like no one gave me that chance, and thank God you went ahead and created your own opportunity where you work on yourself. But you felt at that moment when no one gave you that opportunity to excel and to give you the chance to let yourself flourish.
I can tell
You
you
know, in
where eventually I got the chance. Luckily for us, we live in Israel. First of all, because it's Israel, so we're very lucky because it's an amazing country. Second of all, because we have an army. And every person eventually, doesn't matter what you're going through when you're a child, when you arrive to the army, they make you a soldier. And when they make you a soldier, they teach you values from scratch. They don't care what you went through when you were a kid. They give you a profession. I went to tech because eventually I did practical engineer before the army, so I went into a very technological role. Um, and they show you different things than what you grew up with. They take people from all over the country and they put them together in divisions. So that's something that helps you if you seize the opportunity, if you have the wits to seize the opportunity, it can take you to wonderful places. And I seized the opportunity at the army totally, and that's the period in time that changed me. And when I got out of the army, I was already an engineer with lots of dreams, and I've managed. I had plans since I was 18 about what I'm going to do when I'm 35, and
Wow.
fulfilled all of them.
Wow. I can only imagine the amount of people these days that are sitting, in despair. Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a little kid. Unfortunately, it's a little kid and teenager, but even people that are currently working saying, I don't have that opportunity to excel. I'm not reaching my full potential. I could contribute so much more, or whatever else it may be. They have to learn essentially what you did right now, what you mentioned, is like take life by the horns and grab it and literally create your own opportunity.
I'm a strong
Don't let
believer.
anyone.
I'm a strong believer in luck. The harder you work, the more luck you have. That's
Exactly. And that's really what it boils down to. In order to live your fullest potential, you have to literally take life. You have to make that conscious decision to step into your own shoes and really to go ahead and flourish. Is it going to be easy? No, right? But in order to become the best version of yourself, you have to put in the hard work. It's going to require sacrifices, and you can.
and it's more than that. You don't need to wait for a chance. You need to
Yeah,
create your own chances. Because eventually, what's entrepreneurship? It's taking nothing, taking an idea and creating something big from that idea. So taking
right.
something that just slipped up to your mind. Okay. So how do I build it? Okay, let's find a smart way to build it. Let's get the best co-founders out there. And then I got Vladimir and Justin, which are amazing. They joined this journey, and then we need a platform in order to take it to market. Okay, so we had the MBA, so we went to an entrepreneurship department. Then I met the first co-founder, Omri. We got this thing together, and we are 4 people right now. And then we don't know how to do sales and marketing. So I read 5 books. I invested every day to read as much information in order to make sure that I can do it. So nobody handed me any opportunity. I seized it myself.
Right. Yeah. It's also even more. That's essentially the founding story of Lightico, where at the beginning you guys didn't have any customers for the first 2 to 3 years, and you were taking a bunch of consulting gigs on the side in order to really get Lightico up and going.
Hmm.
But before we tap into that, you mentioned something very interesting. You said, at the age of 18, you already knew what you were doing at 35. You had plans for a long time. You met your wife at 21, and when you met your wife at 21, you told her that I'm going to work every single position in every single tech company, and I'm going to become a tech CEO. Now that you've raised, $42 million, you have 100 plus employees. What does your wife think?
That I'm not home enough. She knew about that story, but she didn't understand what's going to happen when we arrived. No, I'm kidding. I'm home enough. This office is from home. I'm right here next to my kids. I hear them shouting at the background right now. I hope you don't hear it at the podcast. I think that I'm not sure she understands because I don't brag. She We live simple life. Everything is normal. We have a salary. We enjoy with our kids. We take them to school. We go back. We hang around the neighborhood at the evening with the kids. We take a vacation once or twice a year. We live a normal life, but um, but doing an amazing things in the career.
Right.
We're just not.
But it's also like, yeah. So also another thing is like not enough credit is given to the spouses of entrepreneurs. Uh, the sacrifice that's required of them to either watch the kids, take care of the home, whatever it is, because you're working on something. Obviously, yes, it's to secure a better future for your family, but it's also to make a global impact. Because it's all about making impact. But not enough credit is given to the fact, like essentially, they also don't know what they're getting into, because they have to provide the emotional support to the founders,
Mhm.
whoever it is. They have to be there for them day and night, also more. So their job essentially is like another co-founder on.
Definitely,
Um,
I call her the CEO. So she is the CEO. Uh, um, okay, the situation at the beginning, I can say 2.5 years ago, I was abroad 2 weeks out of every month. So a week in Israel, a week in New York, a week in Israel, a week in San Francisco, raising money, meeting customers, meeting new potential employees, recruiting, doing roadshows. When I'm here, I arrive very late after the kids have played and bathed, and I just kiss them goodnight. When it's time for me to sit with her, I hop on calls from 8 p.m. till 2 p.m. 2 a.m. in order to drive the business forward, because we're doing business from Tel Aviv to the States. So it means we work US time zone and not Israeli time zone. So first of all, I tell her how amazing she is. I believe at least every day, and if I'm not, then I should be telling that more. And she has a very, very crucial part and had a very crucial part in the success of Lightico to date. At my personal career success is a lot because of her, because she provided that confidence and that quiet that I needed in order to build this business. So definitely good comment there. I'll make sure she'll get that podcast as well.
Yeah. I'll give me a call. I'll speak with her.
Okay.
Make sure she understands how much you appreciate her. Wow. But that sacrifice for family, which we make for families, for our families, and everything else, it really it takes its personal toll too on you. You're traveling every single week, and your kids, you're missing your kids. You're not there. You're not able to be there for them physically. Not be able to participate in events. Sometimes you always question, like, am I doing the right thing? Is it worth it or not worth it?
And I can tell you my point of view. First of all, I'm making sure that I'm not missing anything, or at least too many things. I've heard about CEOs that missed their children's birth and missed birthdays and missed weddings and missed so many things and gave such a big personal toll. My belief is if there is no balance, there will be no success for anyone. Because if my soul won't be quiet, if I won't be happy, then no one in the rest of the pyramid will be happy and enjoy the same way. So the way that I look at work-life balance, or I call it work-life integration, because my work and my life are integrated and I don't have a balance. It's not that I'm at work or at life. So if there is no work-life integration, I think at all parts of the company, not only in my personal life, there will be no success. So first of all, we're making sure that there is work-life integration, that we provide as much as possible. There are certain time frames that there is so much pressure because we didn't have enough time to raise additional people, to recruit additional people, but from the other end, we got additional customers. So some of us are going into turmoil, but we try to be smart and plan ahead and to recruit the right people at the right time in order to make sure that there is this work-life integration. So trying to make sure that there is no big personal toll is a very critical part of being, I think, a tech CEO.
Wow. So then how do you provide, going ahead and building Lightico, for example, where you're a first-time CEO, first-time founder.
Mm-hmm.
What's your learning experience to be stepping into the shoes as a CEO? Obviously, it comes with time as you build more people, because running a startup with 4 co-founders, then going to 10 employees, going to 30 employees, 50 employees, and now 100 employees is a very different role you need to step into with each additional amount of employees. And especially building that culture, which in the beginning was a family, home style, 4 or 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, you know everyone's first name, able to call everyone, this and that. To running an organization now for 100 people is a very different ballgame. Okay.
So what I can say here, you saw one of the children. So I think it's all eventually all about knowledge. It's all about knowledge. What does it mean? From the first moment that I got into the role, my understanding was that I do not know anything, and this is a sin that lots of people can go through when thinking they know everything. But I went into the role understanding I don't know anything. With all the goals that I've set up to myself to do all the different positions, I do not know how to start a company. I do not know how to scale it to 50 people, and definitely don't know how to scale it to 1,000. What I know is that the knowledge is out there because people have done that. So it's either in books or in people's brains. So I need to find the best way to pick in smart people's brains, or to read the right books. So the first thing that I've done is assembled an advisory board. Not an advisory board that you put on a slide deck. I don't have a slide deck for my Lightico advisory board in our investors deck or in our company deck. But I have 4 very close advisors that have done what I'm trying to do for multiple times very successfully, which means that any challenge that I might have, I probably have a solution out there. So that's one. So getting from Rafi Swiri, the president of WalkMe, as an advisor, and for getting Ruby Khan, which was part of M&A for Nice Systems as a strategic advisor, and Eran Vanunu, that was the CTO of LivePerson as a technical advisor to the CTO of Lightico, and reading the best books out there by asking people what were the books that have impacted them. And before I went and tried to drill down into any specific subject, I read a book or twice, or two, or three, in order to make sure that I'm doing the right decision. I've spent 4 months learning about objectives and key results, about OKRs, before I've set up OKRs for my company. Our company, sorry, I never say my company, but part of the discussion. So I think it's all about knowledge. And when you understand that you don't have the knowledge and you are seek without stopping the right sources of knowledge for the right place that you're at, can get you to where you want to be. And more than that, you need to understand that you need to be, I won't say the most stupid person in the room, but you must not be the smartest person in the room. So we've hired executives, amazing executives at Lightico, from our CRO to our VP Success to VP Product, VP Engineering to VP Sales. People that already done what we're trying to do and knows what's around the corner, so they can build the processes, get the technology, and hire the right people to achieve the task. So it's all about planning, learning, and executing.
So let's flip that script going on in your personal life too, of how you become better every single day.
Sometimes you forget about the personal life. And I said work-life integration. How do I become better at every single day? Again, learning. I try to look at things, first of all, not getting stressed. Bad things happen. Things that, I don't know if it's always bad, but things that you wish you would have done differently. I just try to remember each and every one of them and to make sure that I don't repeat the same mistake twice. It's okay to mistake. At business, at home. People can get mistakes, but a second mistake, a repeating mistake, that's something that, if it happens, it means you're doing something wrong. So it's persistence and humility, I think. To understand that you don't know anything and you learn every day new things. Yeah. Wow.
Zviki, every time I talk to you, it just gets me, and I get more inspired.
Same here,
Your humility is what shines from you. It really does. It's that firstly, you're an incredible person, but also you're able to feel the humility. There's no ego involved. You know, and like we spoke about earlier before, we spoke about multiple times before. Essentially, no one's better than anybody. Just because someone is a tech CEO, someone's a VC, even the person working at the door, whatever it may be, no one is better than anyone. Like one thing I always say is, like, if you want to really see someone's humility, who someone is, look how they treat the doorman. Look how they treat a waiter. You know, something like that. Are they polite? Do they say thank you? And you can really see someone, how they value someone else. And we're put on this world for 120 years, whatever it is, God willing, only really to make an impact, to help someone become better, to do a favor for someone else, right? And because a byproduct, we become better ourselves when we do that, right? It's not about how I could take and how it's all for me and this and that and try to get all the publicity around me and try to build this great thing so I can feel better. No, it's about doing things, building things in order to make an impact in this world, to make this world a better place.
Pretty clear.
And like you see it in your journey in Lightico and the impact you're making over there and how that's growing. You see it in the journey of your family life and the way you educate your children and take care and dealing with your wife and everything. It's just absolutely, it's super inspiring. Absolutely inspiring.
Thank you.
Wow. So tell me, like the first, like Lightico today, Because we didn't get a chance to speak about the beginning days yet, how like you hustled away for 3 years before you got your first free customer, and then obviously your first customer turned into the paying customer, which you grew into what Lightico is now a global company, and it's on to incredible, hopefully God willing, a lot of growth. But the first thing I want to ask you, your first angel check. How did you acquire your first angel check that gave you the ability to
The
really?
first, there are two of them. The first one was friends and family and us. It was a sum of around 100K shekels, which is approximately 30 something K dollars. But that was convincing lots of people about an idea that we don't really believe that it's not that we don't really believe, we're not really sure that there's going to be something. I think that was my toughest job. But I don't think this is the right story. The first pre-seed that we've done, something like 300K dollars from an angel group that I love. By the way, each and every one of them, we still have a board member from that group. That's Avi Schechter, Spinach. I think that is after 60 VCs that told me that nothing will come out of this idea. The world does not need what you're building. And there was even one partner at the VC that told me, "Who the hell uses this thing?" And I had 100 paying customers, small insurance agents. Who the hell uses this thing? That's and I will never invest in it. Like in an official meeting, you came well dressed into a conference room and you sit and you pitch and you hear that. So that was very tough. And then there was a meeting with Avi. A very great meeting, amazing guy. Showed him the product, did the session with him on his phone. He completed an insurance policy within 20 seconds, and he told me, "Wow, this is great. Are any customers using that?" At that same moment, I got a text message from a customer that has a large insurance agency in Israel at the north in Haifa, yelling at me, "Zviki, you son of a gun. The system broke down again. We can't work. You can't understand. We're dependent on your software. You're killing us." What would you do with that message, Ephraim? I showed it to Avi. I told him, "Avi, look at this." He told me, "What?" I told him, leave aside the fact that our software is not in the cloud. It's in my co-founder's living room, and probably his wife got the socket out to vacuum and everything broke down. Look how much they need us. That moment, it's a true story. That moment eventually got us the first check. And again, that first check, we didn't take salaries from that first check. We got employees in order to make sure that we can utilize those funds as best as possible. And we started taking our own payrolls only at the check afterwards at the seed level.
Wow.
So that's the story of the first check.
Wow. I love the flip of the script over there of saying, look how much they need us. Don't look at the negative. Look at the positivity over here. Look at the fact that their systems are relying on us, and everything is relying on us, and for us to empower them to do the job well. I love that. Wow. So what was it tough not taking the salary the first few years for you? You just had a baby then when you started the company. I think you had a second child at that point in time too, when this story is happening. Was it difficult then?
I didn't grow up with a situation. Nobody handed me lots of cash for me to survive without working. That never happened. First of all, I saved a lot while I was working on a payroll before Lightico. So I had a deal, first of all, with my wife. I told her, here's 100K shekels. I put it in our bank account, and I told her, when this is over, I'm back on a payroll working for a company. This is the slack I need. It's still there, by the way. And what we've done is, okay, looked at our skills, found the best way, and I know how to find business opportunities. This is something that I've been given, probably. We found good business opportunities to do consulting as a group of co-founders. We've got enough in order to pay ourselves on a different company, not on Lightico, in order just to pay ourselves. And when time came and we had enough strength at Lightico to go full time and to ditch everything consulting, we did it, and that's it. So we didn't go into a place where we say, okay, we're going to live in the streets, because sometimes entrepreneurship story sounds like that. I don't think that somebody can really do it unless you have help, either from home or you saved, or you're doing it part time or at night. It isn't possible.
Right.
You can't really start a company without having some kind of backup. So I've created my backup. My co-founders created their backup in order for us to go full blown into this journey.
And it's so important you just mentioned, because the mindset a person has when they have a backup, when they don't have a backup, is such a different mindset. Okay, when you have them, you have some type of backup, whatever, you have a safety net, you have something, right? It gives you it literally opens up mind space in order for you to operate in a more of a free flowing mind space to really work and grow your company. When you're operating from a place of no backup, where your back is against the wall in order to really pay your
Make wrong decisions.
exactly your month's rent, your rent for next month, you start making terrible decisions. But not only making terrible decisions, the stress level, everything is just that you're operating from a different place, two different places.
I definitely agree.
You know, and as amazing entrepreneurship is, and I highly encourage everyone to do it if they have the right aptitude and not necessarily personality, but the aptitude to stomach all the good times, the bad times, everything like that. Not to take things personally, to do it, but don't do it from a place like you just mentioned, like if you're back against the wall, because then it won't be you're not giving yourself the fair chance. You're not allowing yourself the fair chance to do it.
I totally agree. That's what I did without knowing all this theory. It was just obvious. I'm not going to get into this journey tight, so I have only a month or two. I wanted to provide myself 24 months at least, so I can work without being stopped in the middle because of a financial crisis. Everything else, if we're healthy, everything else will be okay.
Right. Wow. I mean, there's so many more things to go into, so many little
Yeah,
details, and
it's fun.
it's a never ending conversation of literally about life, of how we become better people. Because, like you mentioned before, it's work-life integration. It's not about balance. It's about
Mm-hmm.
integration. Because we're not two-sided people where we show up over there and show up over here. When we show up whole for ourselves, as Ephraim, as Zviki, and we're dear for ourselves, and we're dear for each other. It gives us, and we work on ourselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, religiously, whatever it may be. We're able to show up at all other places also better. It's, it's not like a separate thing. What are some of the things that you personally work on? The unobvious things that are not there, the unobvious habits that you put in on a daily basis that no one knows, or that you're not even aware, but you know that these are the things that make me become better. That give me the ability to show up better.
I never go to sleep right after work. Never. Because I think I'm working a lot. Okay. So it's either work, sleep, or work, time to myself, time for my brain, time to chill down and then sleep. So I will never. Even if I finish work at 1 a.m., I will go to sleep at 3 a.m. because I need those 2 hours. In those 2 hours, I do two things. First of all, I make sure that there is no unread email in my inbox. I don't want to miss anything. That's one. And second, I have to read something insightful, either on personal life or business every day. So I am listed to multiple sources that are providing very interesting information. I choose my article a day or my chapter a book a day, and I go through it. I think it first of all makes me wiser. Second, it reduces the pressure. And third, you need time for yourself. Just you, yourself, and your thoughts. That's my personal tip.
Yeah. I like that. Especially like the fact allowing yourself just be time for yourself. Because a lot of times, we could think, at least I could think sometimes, and we can see like if you're not doing something, you're not progressing, you're not moving forward. Obviously, doing something over here, but allowing yourself to just be after a crazy day. So we look at Zviki. Zviki graduating university, and he has a whole life in front of him. And at this point in time, Zviki made the conscious choice to do something with his life. You gave yourself permission to do something with your life. Because it all comes down to giving yourself permission, allowing yourself, and not falling into that negative space. And you have the whole world in front of you. You could go, become a surf bum in Costa Rica, which is okay too. You could go work in a local cafe. You could go working in cybersecurity, or you could continue to build your startup. What message do we tell this young Zviki, looking at life for the first time? He has all the choices in front of him, and he can choose whatever he wants.
I had a software that I wrote a message to myself when I'm 40, when I was 20. And I was supposed to get that email at 20, but the company went bankrupt at 30, which is right before. And I told myself, Zviki, if you are at the age of 40 and you have not broken for any, it's hard to describe in English, and you haven't done for yourself, and you're not an owner of a company, if you're not free spirit, if you are not, I created lots of those things, then I'm very disappointed from you. I told it to myself, and I got it at the age of 30. So I think the young Zviki told the old Zviki what is expected, is expecting from him. But I think to tell him, don't do just for the sake of doing. Do for the sake of learning. Right. Don't learn for a task in order to get a good grade. Learn the materials and get a bad grade. That doesn't matter. Learn from every experience. Understand what's behind it, and it will make you a better person every time. And I think that, and it's an advice I give to young Zvikis all the time, that are going to do a B Science, finish, and start their MBA right afterwards. You don't really understand what you are doing, where you are going to handle. You'll go for it, you'll read the materials, and you'll get a good grade. And 2 hours afterwards, you forget everything. So don't do things for vain. Do them in order to learn from every experience. That's what I would say to young Zviki.
Wow, incredible. And I can only imagine that you're giving this wisdom to your own kids too, and educating them this way also.
Of course.
So you can see how they grow up. Wow, Zviki, I have no words. I want to say thank you.
Fine, thank you very much. I met an amazing person. From all the conversation that we've had up until now, I learned at least 5 new things. You're full of peace, full of humility, and I'm very glad that I got to know you through this podcast.
Likewise, I can say the same exact things. I learned so much, but one of the things about this conversation that we're having today, which I'm so grateful for, is the fact that it's going to be published, and that thousands of people are going to be able to benefit from it, and they're going to allow themselves permission to grow and to learn and to make mistakes and learn that it's a learning process. It's a journey. Life's a journey. So I'm so grateful and I thank you that you allowed us to record it and you trusted me to record it, so that way thousands of people can benefit, learn from your journey, and take from it parts that they can apply to their own lives and they can learn more. Because it's about making impact. It's about making impact and being there for each other. And it goes without saying, Zviki, I'm here for your family, as always. I'm here for you. I'm here for the company any way possible. But thank you.
Thank you, Frank.